Hello, everyone. On behalf of the team at Talent Canada, I'd like to welcome you to the on-demand portion of our Workplace Mental Health virtual webinar event. My name is Marcel Vanderveer. I'm the editor of Talent Canada, and I'm joined today by Lanie Schachter-Snipper, the National Director of Outpatient Programs with Edgewood Health Network in Toronto. Today, we're discussing mental health in the workplace in terms of EHN's unique programming that allows patients to receive intensive treatment while remaining productive at work. So welcome, Lanie. I look forward to hearing more about you and your work.
Thanks, Marcel, and good job pronouncing my name. It's not an easy one.
Lanie, let's begin with an introduction of your programming. Can you explain the origins and purpose of EHN's intensive outpatient programs?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll go back even before EHN just to describe some of the origins of EHN, IOP programs or intensive outpatient programs. So intensive outpatient programs, I'll call them IOPs moving forward, just to make it a little easier. They emerged in response to a need for clients struggling with substance use, and they were an alternative to either residential treatment or individual counseling. So they emerged as sort of an in-between option, an intensive therapeutic in-between option for clients who are looking for substance use support. So at EHN, we've decided to widen that definition of IOPs. So we do offer an IOP for substance use. We call that a concurrent mental health and addictions program. But we've also widened it to address other clinical issues that our clients are reporting are arising for them.
Thanks, Lanie. Yeah, I'd love it if you could go into some more detail on the specialty programs offered currently and what you might have on the horizon.
Yeah, for sure. So as I said, one of the programs that we currently offer and have been offering for some time now is a concurrent mental health and addiction program. And that would look similar to a traditional substance use treatment program, although our programs are untraditional in some ways, and I will get into that later. We also have recently launched our mood and anxiety disorder IOP. And this really arose out of a need we're hearing from clinicians, from our community partners, and from clients stating that they really needed more mood and anxiety support. And so we've launched a mood and anxiety disorder IOP as well. On the horizon, I mean, I have a list of hundreds of programs I could launch. There's so many ways that we want to be supporting clients, but the ones that I will actually be launching in 2020 will be our sex and love addiction IOP, our compulsive sexuality IOP that will hopefully be launching in October. And I'm also hoping to launch probably in 2021 an IOP for borderline personality disorder and interpersonal trauma. And again, those are our decisions to launch those programs are really informed by what we're hearing from community partners and clinicians and clients about what their clinical needs are.
Thanks, Lanie. Can you explain exactly how the IOP programming works and who might be the target audience?
Yes, absolutely. So IOPs historically and traditionally have been offered in person. It's an interesting time, of course, because of COVID-19, and it's provided us with a really interesting opportunity to build out our online programs. So we've been providing online mental health support for some time now, before COVID. Right now, all of our IOPs are offered through our online platform. We want to make sure that we are providing a safe space for our clients. And so we've suspended our in-person programming, and all of our programming for the IOPs is happening across the network online. And we're fortunate because we already had a platform in place. So we weren't scrambling to train staff or to create a platform in response to COVID. We were already offering online programs. And of course, since COVID, they've really exploded. We've probably tripled in size since the emergence of COVID. So our programs, anyone who joins an IOP program will receive, well, I like to think of it as a year-long program. We call it an 8-week program because the first 8 weeks are the intensive part of the program. So for the first 8 weeks of the program, a client is receiving weekly a combination of group and individual counseling. So they receive 8 hours of psychoeducational or skills groups and 1 hour of individual counseling with a trained and experienced clinician. So after the 8 weeks, and this is why I think of it as a year-long program, they get 44 weeks of aftercare or a maintenance program. And this is a weekly a group with their peers that they attend online for the duration of the year. So the target audience for an IOP, so I mean, I think of IOPs as really being widely appropriate. So it might be easier to talk about who isn't a target audience for an IOP rather than who is. I would say any client who comes to us who has what might be classified as severe mental health or addiction and requires, for example, medical withdrawal or detox, they may not be suitable for an IOP. Anyone who's had chronic mental health or addiction needs may be more suitable for residential care. Really everyone else, so anyone who's struggling with mild or moderate mental health or substance use symptoms would really benefit from an IOP program. So the target audience is actually quite wide. I think about this question a lot. Who are we appealing to with IOP? And it's really anyone from someone who has received some degree of individual counseling or maybe attended self-help groups and feels they need just a little bit more support. And someone who wants to maintain their regular schedule, someone who doesn't want a disruption to their work or family life, but really wants to receive that intensive mental health support. We treat men, women, we treat people of all ages. Because we're offering all of our services online, we're really treating people across Canada and in some of the really remote areas that we've struggled in the past to really be able to support these clients. So it's a wide, very, very wide audience, and we're hoping to widen it by really educating and creating awareness around what IOP programs are.
To bring this back to the workplace, how exactly does this type of programming benefit employers and employees?
Yeah, that's a really good question, and it's such an important topic right now. I'm so pleased as someone who works in mental health that the conversation about workplace mental health has really come to the surface. It's a very complex time for people who are employed, managing the uncertainty and stress that COVID has created. I mean, in the best of times, our jobs can be challenging. And then you add a pandemic on top of that and returning to work after working at home for many months. It's a very stressful time. So an IOP is a really interesting option for employers seeking to support their staff or staff seeking support. So we talk a lot in the mental health field about return to work. Something that I like to talk about a lot is stay at work. So IOP programs are really helpful for both. If you're an employer and you have staff who are struggling with mental health, either they've reported it, they've come forward to HR or to a supervisor and said, I'm struggling, I need help, or their peers, their colleagues, or their bosses are starting to notice absenteeism, presenteeism. An IOP is a really good way to keep a client engaged at work and to provide them with the mental health support without that disruption to their regular workday. We've created a schedule where clients can receive support in the evenings, during the days, and on weekends to accommodate all types of different work schedules. The other thing is that we really focus on how can we work best with the employers that are reaching out to us to get support for their staff. So we're very accustomed to having close working relationships with what we would call referrents or referring parties, people who are supporting a client and getting access to our services. So assuming the client consents to their employer working alongside us, we would be providing regular reporting, monitoring, and updates to the employer. And this really helps the employer support the client in parallel with us supporting the client, and then helps the employer have a better understanding of when this client either returns to work or is staying at work, how they can continue to support the client as well. Our Aftercare program is also a really important part of why this is such a good program for an employer seeking support for their staff, because it's not just 8 weeks and then off you go, good luck. It's 8 intensive weeks and then 44 weeks, or really a full year of maintenance support. And during that year, we're often in touch with employers to provide updates, again, assuming that the client has provided us with that consent and that permission to communicate with the employer. The other thing that we do is we're starting to implement outcome measurement. What that means is we're tracking our client's progress and communicating with the client about any changes in progress that we're noting. And again, with the client's consent, this is something we can discuss with the employer. My goal working in mental health is to keep people at work. We know that people who stay at work have better mental health outcomes. So that's really my focus. I want to keep people at work and get them back to work as quickly as possible.
Excellent. Yeah, it sounds like a great mission and purpose for these types of programs. Sticking with the workplace theme, at what point would you actually advise an intensive outpatient program over and above standard EAP or mental health first aid? At what point does someone kind of become eligible for this type of programming?
Right, yeah, that's a good question. The good news is that an IOP can be a really useful complement to all of the other services or supports that are provided in the workplace. So you had mentioned EAP, we talk about mental health first aid, individual counseling, peer support. There's so many interesting and cool workplace mental health programs that are popping up right now. And IOP can be a complement to that. So my feeling is like, take it all, get all of the support you can. You don't need to choose. I would say a client who might add IOP to their already existing supports might be someone who is feeling like, I've been trying this, like I've gone to my EAP, I've spoken with HR, I'm doing some self-help, I've got the apps, and I still feel like I'm really struggling. I still feel like I'm suffering, and I'm worried I may have to take time off work, or my spouse is expressing concern, or my colleagues are asking about me. So this is someone who's probably tried a few things and feels like, I just need more. I need more structure, I need routine, and I need the intensity that the 8 weeks will offer me. And then in addition to the maintenance that happens after that. One of the things that clients report is so special about the IOP program is the peer support that's built there. So you have this intensive 8 weeks with others who are struggling with similar symptoms as you, and then you have the 44 weeks after the 8 weeks where you stick with those people, and it really creates a strong support network for clients who are struggling with mental health and addictions. Not dissimilar to what some clients might describe they're experiencing when they attend AA, for example, the fellowship, the support, the companionship.
Lanie, what type of practical or actionable strategies do IOPs assist with in the workplace?
Yeah, so we really focus at EHN on skills-based programming, and I'll say a little bit about what that means. So historically, mental health and substance use support hasn't always been based on practical and applied skills. So the support might have been offered in sort of an open processing space where clients could sit and talk about their feelings. There's certainly value in that, and what we're also noting in the mental health field is how much value there is in supporting clients in learning practical, applied, and specific skills. So when they have a mental health or substance use episode, they have skills or tools that they can pull from their toolbox to be applied immediately. Some of these skills are really quick and dirty. So, you know, I'm in my workplace, I'm starting to feel anxious. Perhaps I've experienced panic before. I'm thinking I'm gonna have to leave the workplace. Okay, let me think, what did, this week in my IOP, we talked about emotion regulation. Oh yeah, I remember the belly breath. Let me try that. Okay, I'm gonna do 5 belly breaths. Okay, yeah, I'm starting to regulate. I'm gonna step outside, go for a walk. So that's an example of a very quick skill that we teach clients, and we teach clients dozens of skills, all the way up to some of the more complex and cognitively complex skills that I won't go into here. But really, we want to give an array of skills that clients can choose from to really keep them grounded in their mental health. And to really empower them to be able to use these skills in between sessions, and then come back to their sessions to debrief with their peers. What's working? What do I need to do more of? Let me hear from you about what's working.
I want to build on that actually by asking you, in terms of what sort of benefits have you seen or experienced as a result of IOP programming? Do you track that, and can you talk a little bit about it?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So again, I want to just mention, because there may be some listeners or viewers who are well informed in the field of mental health, and I just want to note the types of clinical modalities that we're using in our IOP. So for many people, CBT or cognitive behavioral therapy is something that they've probably heard of and recognize. So a lot of our materials are drawn from CBT. We also use dialectical behavior therapy, DBT, and if this is new for you, I recommend looking it up. It's an evidence-informed practice that we find has been so useful for helping clients build those skills that I was just talking about. We also use acceptance and commitment therapy, another evidence-informed modality, and of course mindfulness, and for substance use clients, relapse prevention. So in terms of the benefits that clients are receiving from these programs, there's many. I'll try and just tease out a few. One of the benefits is the clients start to build awareness and start to educate themselves on their own mental health symptoms. So what am I experiencing? What does this mean? How can I talk to my family members about this? And that's a really important piece, because it starts to normalize for the client their own mental health experience. What we know about mental health is that it's stigmatizing and lonely. And even with all these wonderful supports and discussions and promotion of mental health, it's still an area that people feel really ashamed of. And so in creating a group where people can have honest and authentic conversations and learn about mental health, it can be normalizing, which is very, very important for someone who maybe has been alone with their symptoms, experiencing their symptoms alone, or not been sharing with others. So that's an important piece. And just to mention, I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, but part of our program is a virtual family program. And what that means, we call it a family program, but it's actually for anyone the client deems a support. So it could be a sibling, a boss, a neighbor, and they can invite as many supports to this 3 half-day program, psychoeducational workshops that we offer. And so that's a huge benefit to the clients, because their family members or supports are learning the same skills and language that we're teaching the clients, and it creates a dialogue really between the client and the people who are trying to care for them, that the clients are reporting is very, very helpful. The peer support piece that I mentioned earlier, so the fellowship, again, that's really helpful in normalizing and helping clients feel less alone. We at EHN is a network, and so what that means is that we have sites across Canada, both residential and outpatient. And for clients that join our programs, what that means is that we have really a very fulsome and comprehensive array of services that we can provide these clients. So if we have a client in an IOP program that either needs more or less, that's a conversation that we can easily have. So another piece, another benefit for clients would be maintenance. So I know I keep harping on this, but there are many IOP programs that will offer the initial intensive portion without the maintenance portion. So again, I think about our IOP as a year-long program, with the first 8 weeks being the intensive portion and the latter 44 weeks being the maintenance portion. And clients report that being exceptionally helpful, because we know that clients who struggle with mental health and addiction, they will have lapses and relapses. They will have mental health episodes. And if they're engaged in a regular group with people that they trust and a clinician that they know, they're more likely to quickly get back on track with their mental health recovery. There's probably more benefits. I'll just list one or two more if we have time. That's okay.
Sure.
So I had spoken earlier about outcome measurement. And so this is something at EHN we're really focused on. How can we want to know that we're doing well. We want to know that what we're offering in our programs is working. And how do we do that? We do that by measuring progress. So we have validated tools that we use to measure client progress, and we're having conversations with clients about that progress. So that helps clients really track their progress. Humans are notoriously bad at knowing when we're doing better. We'll always assume that we're doing worse. These outcome measurements allow us to have informed conversations about clients about which direction they're going in. Because we've been in the virtual space for so long with regards to mental health, it's being able to seamlessly offer our programs online has been so important during COVID. And I actually see these programs continuing in their popularity even after we're able to start hosting in-person clients. We're getting very, very positive feedback from clients about being able to be comfortable at home, not having to commute, and certainly for our remote clients who live in areas where there are very few mental health supports, they're reporting a degree of gratitude that they're able to access these supports that they previously weren't.
In the next couple of questions, I just want to touch back on some things you've already mentioned, but specifically in terms of convenience of the programming. I know that mental health assessment and awareness often, a worker often needs time to do that. And I'm wondering how specifically in the intensive portion of your programming, how that would work in terms of flexibility of the timing of it all.
Yeah, a good question. Many of our clients are still engaged in work. Their participation in our IOP programs has not disrupted their schedule, and we're really trying to focus on what time should we be offering these programs in order to accommodate the most clients. So we offer PST times, we offer EST times, as I mentioned, weekends, evenings, daytimes, and we have a degree of agility, and so we're also responding to client needs. So if we have several clients calling in and saying, you know, we actually need daytime because I'm a shift worker, so I need to be able to attend at 10 a.m. on a Wednesday. Is that feasible? It's not. We have in the past actually rolled out new programs based entirely on a handful of clients reporting their specific and unique needs. So our focus is really to keep, as I said, I'm very in favor of either keeping people at work or getting them back to work as soon as they can in a healthy and responsible way, obviously. And we do whatever we can to ensure that we're working with employers and clients to offer convenient and flexible timing in order to accommodate a variety of different needs and schedules.
Perfect. You've touched on this as well, Lanie, but I'm wondering, how does an IOP ensure wider education and family supports?
Yeah, so I mentioned our family program, and I think that's a really, really important piece. We know that clients who engage their support circles in their care have better outcomes. And so that's why we, as part of our program, it's included in the cost, is our family program. And we consider that integral, an integral part of a client's care. And you know, we often have conversations with families where they say, you know, I didn't understand. I really didn't get what my son or spouse or colleague was going through. I didn't understand depression. I didn't understand substance use. And now I feel I can approach this person who I care about so much in a totally different and maybe in a more productive way. And that's exceptionally meaningful for someone who's in recovery from mental health or addiction.
Finally, once a patient is treated, what support is available to ensure he or she continues on the right track?
Yeah, as I mentioned several times because I'm excited about it, our aftercare program. So again, we have those 44 weeks of the maintenance or aftercare program that a client can engage in. And we consider once a client's at EHN, like they're a part of our family forever. So we have clients who aren't technically, you know, enrolled in a program who sometimes still call for support or call us to give us updates on how they're doing. We often have clients who will do one program and then may come back several months or several years later for another program as sort of a booster or a complement. So we very much believe in creating programs that support a client's autonomous mental health. We don't want them to be reliant on us for the rest of our lives, and we want them to know that we are always here. So we're trying to strike a balance between those two things, and that's where the skills-based approach comes in. How can we help you be empower yourself to engage in your mental health recovery? And when you need us, all you got to do is pick up the phone. We're 24/7. We're available for you. And so that's what we're really focused on. And again, our ongoing relationships and commitment to working with our referents, with our employers, to provide programming that really suits the need of both the employer and the client. And those ongoing relationships have really helped us respond to the needs, the clinical needs that are arising.
Thanks so much for all of this information, Lanie.
You're welcome.
I really hope it benefits those in the workplace who are looking for mental health solutions. And yeah, for more information, you can visit talentcanada.ca or edgewoodhealthnetwork.com.
Thank you so much, Marcel.